Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to round 5 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour here at the circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. First race of the day, nice and early start for the World Tour field, and I'm sure, just like me, you're very excited indeed for the racing action that is about to come. 18 cars lined up on the grid. Our very own Alex Le Gui down there as well, ready to talk to the stars of the field. Alex will be in position in a few moments' time. Myself, Paul Jeffrey, up here in the commentary box. And before we go racing, let's head down to the grid and have a word with Alex to see who she's found to talk to ahead of this first race of the day.
Hola a todos. Welcome back to a glorious Valencia. Here we are, ready for race 2 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour after a brilliant day yesterday. Before we get into the grid, we have a very special event taking place. The TCR Spain promoter, Gabriel Alonso, will be presenting a trophy to WSC Big Chief Marcello Lotti.
Grazie. Thank you so much for the visit. Thank you for the support. For us, it's a real honor to have the TCR World Tour and to have friends here.
Exactly, friends first. And I have to say, when you asked me to take care about TCR Spain, was also a difficult period at that time. I remember COVID. And I have to say, you make a fantastic job. And you have to have also a big prize. We try to organize for you.
Okay. Thank you so much, and see you next year.
Right.
Gracias. Gracias. Oh, yes. Well, I'm very excited about the fact that we'll be back here next year. I think that was signed, sealed, delivered. Okay, now, race 2, let me tell you, is comprised of the results of race 1, top 10 reversed. So Jan Erliché won race 1 yesterday, so he starts back in P10. Our poleman is Jean-Philippe, who I'm going to try and catch a word with before he gets into the car. Now, Jean, if we can have a quick word. You started from pole in Spa 2023, and you ended up on the top step. But how tricky will it be to do the same here in Valencia?
It will be hard because it's not the same confidence than 2 years ago. But I have nothing to lose. The other is playing the championship. I think a bit far from the pace. So I will do the best, what I can, and we will see.
Good. All right, power's on for you. And they're doing very, very well, these boys. Okay, so behind him is one of our wild cards, Felipe Fernandez. He technically was pole for this race, but due to a shuffle after race 1, as it happens, he starts from the first row of the grid, but the P2 spot. Now, behind him is Esteban Guerrieri, who came into the weekend as championship points leader. However, Santi Urrutia now is championship leader, 4 points ahead. Esteban, what a position to be in here in Valencia. He will be going all guns blazing because race 3 is comprised of the combined scores from qualifying race 1 and race 2. So it's really important that these boys push. And he's surrounded by wild cards. Ruben Volt sits there ahead of Nestor Bebu Girolami, the best of the Hyundais. Let's see if we can have a quick word with Bebu while we're here. Best of the Hyundais, Bebu. This is where you need to be. You need to make the most of the points that you could gain in this race too. Talk to me from your perspective.
Well, we are in a good position. I mean, yesterday we have been struggling a little bit with the pace, but we find some answer last night, and I think we take the right decision. The car feels good in the way to the grid, so let's hope to get some more points today, trying to recover a little bit from yesterday, and hopefully we can get a good result for Hyundai.
Thank you very much to Bebu there. Yeah, so Hyundai had a really difficult Mexico. They struggled with altitude, but also they struggled with a little bit of balance. Poor Mikel. So race one yesterday, that first lap was pretty chaotic. Poor Mikel starts today right back in P16. He was really caught up in the tangle. Keep an eye on Ted Bjork. He is silent but deadly. He's so consistent, and he will just stealth his way through. We know that they've got the pace. We know that they've even got the race pace, which was actually pretty unexpected. Novi Michelitz will be there looking after his buddy in front of him, as will Ma Qinghua, who was right behind Ted. This little mid-pack is something I'd be keeping my eyes on for sure. Santi Urrutia is now championship points leader. Where is he? Let's see if we can catch a quick word. Come with me. Santi. Hello, new championship points leader. Now you start, what are we? Where are we? We're row P9. All right, so now that you've had experience around here from race one with this little gaggle, how tricky is this race two going to be? And what's the strategy? Is it about damage limitation, or are you fighting?
I think it's just finish the race. And I mean, we are in a good position to start race 3 at the front, so we lead in the championship at the moment. We scored big for the team as well yesterday, so I think the main thing is to finish the race. It's a question to see how because it's reverse grid, so how the cars in front can keep the pace. I think Esteban is struggling a little bit with the 40 kilos. Hyundai seems to be quick, you know, in Q1 and in practice, but yesterday on the race as well, so I don't know. Let's see. I mean, just get a good start and then see how it goes. But just if I finish where I start or I move some position, it's fine. I'm not looking for nothing special in the race, just arrive and to have a safe car for race 3. So, yeah, that's the plan.
It feels pretty hot. Like, how tricky is... the temperature is different to yesterday. Already is a lot hotter than it was yesterday. This track is, like, so abrasive, isn't it, on the tyres, particularly that front left.
Yeah, I tell you what, at the end of the race, you know, I was suffering a lot the heat inside of the car. Whatever I do, you know, I drink a lot of water. I came a week before here to get used to the heat, but yes, I struggled a little bit yesterday, but it is what it is, you know. I think the main thing to keep the tires alive is just not push a lot at the beginning of the race. Once the tire, you know, get overheat, then they never come back. So the key will be to save the tires at the beginning, hope the other ones start fighting on the first few laps, and then we have a little those extra tenths at the end of the race that will permit us to attack a little bit.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, Santi. And then beside him will be Jan Erlache. We saw a nice little tussle between Santi and Jan. Santi started yesterday from pole into that first corner. I mean, these boys, they tussle a lot. But then they had a good, clean race. I think he might be hiding. That's okay. Let's start walking this way. Valencia is the gift that keeps on giving. This track is technical, it's difficult, it's proving to be a real challenge, as you can hear from our boys, not only from a driving perspective or from a car perspective, but the heat is something else, and I think it's just going to get even hotter. It'll be very exciting to see what happens during this race. Keep your eyes on the likes of Ted Bjork and Ma Qinghua. I'd be quite interested to see what those boys in blue can do. But let's not forget that the Hyundais are lighter as well, and they do seem to have found a little bit more pace in the cars. It's been delightful so far to be here in Valencia. We have an amazing paddock. We have this giant stage, so the podiums are actually up on this big stage. We've got DJs, we've got a band who's going to come and join us for race 3, so make sure you come and watch them. They are fantastic. We've got our grid walks, we've got all sorts of things for the fans, we've got autograph sessions. What a great place to be. I guess we should get racing. Paul, he's in commentary. It's over to you.
Wonderful stuff then from our very own Alex Legui down on an increasingly warm grid here in Valencia, as mentioned by Alex and Santi Urrutia. The temperature is a little bit warmer than it was yesterday, and yesterday was very warm indeed. Tyre talk then is going to be a topic of conversation during the course of this race. Air temperature 26, track 35 degrees, humidity has risen now to 57%. It was at 38 yesterday. So it's going to be hard work for our drivers. It's going to be hard work for our Kumho slick tyres as well. as Santiago Urrutia mentioned just there. Maybe bedding in the tyres a little bit at the start of the race is a good tactic, so you can have a little bit of performance towards the end. Something the eagle-eyed of you watching from home will have noticed is that little gap on the grid that we saw from the drone shot just then. Eric Genet, I am hearing in my ears, is still on pit road, potentially won't be taking the start of this race. An issue somewhere with the front of the car has befallen the young Spanish driver. Let's hope for Genet's sake that he can get out there on track and show us what he's made of, but that'll be a real shame, knocking one car off the list already before we even get into green flag action. Eric Genet, though, would have been starting down there in 15th position, so not been a great weekend for the young Spanish driver. Could be a great weekend for the slightly more experienced Spanish driver, Felipe Fernandez, on loan from the TCR Europe Championship. He's on board the GOAT Racing Honda Civic FL5 Type R TCR, and he'll be starting in second position. Why second and not pole, I hear you ask? The reason is because there was a post-race penalty applied to Julian Brichet. There we go. 5 seconds penalty for an unsafe rejoining contact with Marco Butti. That drops Julian Brichet all the way down into 12th position. Moves everybody that was behind him up one. Hence the reason that we've got a pole start for John Felipe and Felipe Fernandez alongside. Very good news for that man Esteban Gurrieri, starting in third position. This has got to be a golden opportunity for the Argentine driver. He's lost the lead of the World Tour standings thanks to Santi Urrutia. Strong start to the weekend. From third position, it would be very difficult to look much further than Esteban Gurrieri as a race victory threat in this second event. A little bit like that man Ruben Volt. Very similar livery, exactly the same car, different team. Ruben Volt is here with ALM Motorsports. Again, the Estonian driver and Estonian team have moved over from TCR Europe for this weekend, and they'll be looking to have a good result from fourth on the grid. Ruben's been a little bit struggling in Europe to get the car off the line, but goodness me, once it's off the line, it goes very quickly indeed. Expect Ruben Volt to be a troublesome nuisance to our front runners, at the very least, in this second race. And Bebo Girolamo, another driver, another Argentinian in the 129 for BRC Hyundai and Squadra Corsa team. He starts from 5th position, does Bebo. It's been a relatively low-key weekend so far for Girolamo, but as the front man of the Hyundai squad, he's in a golden position to work his way forward and to have a little conversation about whether he can get on that bottom step of the podium. Ted Bjork, driver of the day for yesterday, in my opinion, started from 10th, worked his way up through the field into an eventual 5th position. Ted, unperturbed by a difficult qualifying, he knew that the format on offer this weekend of the grids decided based on previous race results, or for race 3 coming up, based on the cumulative points total of qualifying the two races. Opportunity still very much knocks for Ted Bjork and for Norbert Michaelis. He said after race 1 that after the unmitigated disaster of Mexico, basically there's no points left on the table to lose. Michaelis will be desperate to hoover up as many of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour points as he possibly can to get his own personal championship charge up and running once again. Marchinghua was, I don't know how to put this, was generous, shall we say, to teammate Santi Urrutia in race number 1 yesterday. He made a way past the Uruguayan driver up in a second position in the mid part of the race and then gave that position back to Santiago towards the end. So Mar, happy to play the team game in race number 1. Will he be able to do so again in race number 2? Let's have a look at our starting grid then. It is John Felipe on pole position. Alongside him is Felipe Fernandez with Esteban Gurrieri and Ruben Volt, making it an all-Honda second row of the grid. Bebo Girolamo leads up row number 3 alongside Ted Bjork. Norbert Michaelis will start this one in 7th, with Marchinghua for company in 8th position away from the line. Moving down into 9th place, Santiago Urrutia from 2nd position in race 1 starts in 9th, alongside race 1 winner Jan Elishay in 10th. Victor Anderson will be in 11th position. Julian Brichet keeps him company in 12th. Raphael Fournier in 13th place. Aurelien Comte, position number 14. Eric Genet due to line up 15th. Whether he starts, it's a different story. And then in 17th place is Marco Butti with Nacho Montenegro. Rounding out the 18 runners, 17 of whom will take the start of this round number 5 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour here in Valencia. As you can see on your screen then, the formation lap has begun. It's an opportunity, final opportunity for our drivers to have a little look at this beautiful 2.4 mile, 14 turn Valencia circuit. Warm the car up, warm the tyres, warm the brakes, get everything in absolute prime position for the charge down into T1. Will that tyre stack we just saw at the back of our shot survive the first lap of racing action? Nacho Montenegro had something to say about that one in the opening race of the day. It's going to be fascinating to see who navigates their way around those tyre stacks on these opening laps. Put there, of course, to make sure that drivers adhere to track limits. And there's no better way to tell a driver to stay on the racing surface than to put something solid just outside of said racing surface. Beautiful shots then as our field wind their way through this Valencia. Allowed a little bit of weaving to get some tyre warmth in those Kumho slicks. Mikel Afcona, he's got a big job in front of him. Does Mikel. 16th position, start of this one. 15th it will be with Eric Genet no longer taking place. But Mikel Afcona on home soil will be a little bit disappointed, I think it's fair to say, about being all the way down the back of the running order. Worst thing about it is Marco Pucci and Nacho Montenegro are with him. So it's not exactly going to be a case of silent through the pack. But a whole lot of racing does Mikel Afcona to do as well before he can even consider trouble in the top 10. Will John Philippi then be able to convert this pole position? It's going to be a very, very big ask for the SP competition. Cooper Leon VZ TCR driver. It's not been a season that John Philippi will look back on fondly, I think it's fair to say, to start this 2025 campaign. As he said last time on pole position was when the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour joined TCR Europe at Spa-Francorchamps. On that day, John Philippi got the pole and converted it into the race victory. As he mentioned himself on the grid, confidence is not quite as high as it was a couple of years ago, and it definitely looks like John doesn't have the pace so far this season as he acclimatises to a new team and a new car. But there's no better tonic for a race car driver than to give him a pole position. Suddenly, ladies and gents, boys and girls, you find a bit more time in the back pocket when you're at the very, very sharp end of the grid. John Philippi is a very established touring car driver, very good talent indeed behind the wheel. If anybody can overcome the trials and tribulations that they've experienced thus far, John Philippi would be a good man to place your money alongside. Well, folks, this is my favourite time of a motor race, just before we go green flag racing. Opportunity knocks for each and every driver in this field. Heroes will be made at the end of 30 minutes, and villains will be crowned, I am sure. Race number 1 saw overtaking, saw controversy, drama, contact, and passing right from the green flag. This is touring cars, though. Races number 2 and 3 tend to be even better again, and we'll find out in a few moments' time what the latest story to add to the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour history will be. John Philippi then starts on pole position. Felipe Fernandez alongside Esteban Gurriere and Ruben Volt line up in 3rd and 4th position. And we are racing here at Valencia for round 5 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. And it is absolute gold dust for John Philippi. An early race lead as we dive down into T1. Bebo Girolami on the attack from further in the pack. Up in a 3rd position goes the Argentinian driver just behind Felipe Fernandez. Esteban Gurriere trying to find a way back. Contact between himself and Ted Bjork for good measure. Bjork comes into contact with Ruben Volt as well. Everybody survives. 3 Lincoln Co's almost collected the tyre barrier on the exit of turn number 1. Everybody makes it all the way through, though. Ruben Volt now getting shuffled out a little bit further back. Gurriere in the mix as well. There's Norbert Michaelis looking to the inside, but John Philippi is our race leader from Felipe Fernandez, and Bebo Girolami in 3rd. To the inside, a little bit further back, goes Ruben Volt. He's been shuffled down the running order slightly, so that ALM Motorsports Honda Civic launch off the line. Not working out well for the Estonian. He's absolutely in the heat of battle with Norbert Michaelis. A little bit further down. Good start for Bebo Girolami up in a 3rd. And there is the Michaelis Volt fight once again. Norby on the outside, Ruben to the inside. It is advantage Michaelis on this occasion. At the front of the field, though, Felipe Fernandez is attacking the back of John Philippi's machine. Not able to find a way past just yet as Norbert Michaelis gets the deal done. Further down on Ruben Volt. Michaelis up in a 6th. Volt down to 7th. Good start then from the 1-2-9. This is an opportunity for Bebo Girolami now. John Philippe, we don't expect will have the pace of those behind. And while he's provided the proverbial cork in the bottle at the head of the pack, this gives the rest of the field an opportunity to climb over the back of the French driver. Felipe Fernandez is the first one on the attack. Looks to the inside, more on defence than attack though from Bebo Girolami. Girolami thinks better of it, then decides to have another look. He held that one a very long time. Did the Argentinian driver to the inside, but elects against it for now. To the outside goes Fernandez. This is going to be a brave manoeuvre. We don't see this very often into turn number 3. John Philippe, though, has the line covered. Felipe Fernandez needs to think again, makes himself vulnerable. Bebo Girolami having a little look and a little think. Aurelien Comte in strife down pit lane, so Comte's out of it. While we were looking at that one, though, Girolami goes aggressive alongside Felipe Fernandez, and he's up into 2nd position. Fernandez now trying the outside line, opens the door for Esteban Gurrieri. It's a goat racing swapsy. Gurrieri up in a 3rd position. Fernandez almost collecting the tyre barriers as he desperately tries to squabble back onto the racetrack. Ted Bjork, though, not in any mood to give Felipe Fernandez the racing room he needs to rejoin the line. Bjork trying to sneak the way up the inside of the Cyan Racing Link & Co machine. Continue too wide. Felipe Fernandez, what a defence this is from the Spanish driver, but he's got the big Swede around the outside. Bjork in no mood to give up in these early stages, uses all the racetrack and a little bit more. Fernandez contact with him. Norbert Michaelis trying to buy into this fight as well. The Hungarian driver, absolutely aggression levels turn to 12. Michaelis now has the attack on Ted Bjork. Bjork from the attacker to the defender and to the inside. All the front tyres low. Where did Ruben Volt come from? That is sensational stuff from Volt. He makes his way through now, but he's under attack again. This is like a NASCAR race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars all on the same piece of tarmac. Ted Bjork has the inside line. Ruben Volt's going to be vulnerable to an attack into turn number 1. He holds it to the outside line, though, does the Estonian driver all the way around the tyres. Contact between Bjork and Michaelis as well further back. Marching Hua, Jan Elishay, all involved in this fight. And Ruben Volt, somehow, by some turn of good fortune and bravery, holds on to that 5th position for now, as we see Marching Hua going a little bit deep and losing positions for the Link & Co Cyan Racing 155. Absolutely frantic stuff in the middle of the pack. This is sensational stuff. Ted Bjork, a big mover, stays in 6th position, but he's managed to find himself a little bit of breathing space now. Norbert Michaelis in 7th, just behind. Bjork is going to have to do it all again as Ruben Volt finds himself in that 4th place. John Philippe still holding on to this race lead, but Bebo Girolami with a locked inside tyre in that BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa Elantra N TCR looks like a man very motivated to do something about our race leader, as again we cycle back to the mid-pack. In fact, Bebo Girolami, we didn't see it, but Girolami has got the job done. So Bebo Girolami now is your new race leader. John Philippe, he put up a stout defence for the opening 5 minutes, but he couldn't resist the Argentinian driver. And now the SP competition Cooperman drops into the clutches of Esteban Gurrieri. Gurrieri, remember, came into this weekend as a championship leader. He lost that to Santiago Urrutia at the end of race 1. But he's going to be more than a little bit motivated to try and get a big armful of points for himself and his GOAT racing team. And he's got Felipe Fernandez as cover behind and Ruben Volt in the ALM Motorsports Honda Civic, keeping a watching brief in 5th position. Volt is going to be more than a little bit keen to find a way past Fernandez and start having a nibble at our potential podium placings. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff in the opening 5 minutes. John Philippe, we didn't think he'd have the pace. Julian Brichet, we thought he'd have the endurance to see a 30-minute race out. It does look like the JSB competition machine is in to an early retirement. That's a shame for the French driver. But let's turn our attentions, though, to the head of this pack and what is turning out to be a barnstorming fight. Bebo Girolami, having taken that race lead, is using the opportunity to scamper away from the struggling John Philippe. This is brilliant stuff for Girolami. This gives him a real open door in which to walk through and take this race victory. But while Girolami is feeling relatively comfortable at the front of the pack with a near 1 second advantage now, having had a lap of clean air, Gianfilippi is under pressure from those behind, led, of course, by Esteban Gurrieri. Teammate for this weekend, Felipe Fernandez, is fourth. And then the ever-dangerous Ruben Volt has Ted Bjork for company, fifth and sixth places, respectively. No, but Michaelis, he wanted a safe and steady start to his race. Well, so far so good for the Hungarian double reigning champion. He's in there in seventh position, just ahead of Jan Elysée. Elysée, there, in fact, come back to that one, because is that Ruben Volt in the background having a little look for position? I think it is. It's Ruben Volt and Felipe Fernandez side by side as we come over the start-finish line for the run down into T1. It's a minimal braking zone into T1. It's not an ideal overtaking opportunity, but Ruben Volt's never been one to follow convention. To the inside he goes on the lock, stops, gathers the car together, runs it to the outside of the racetrack. Fernandez has to go the other way for the barrier, but I think Ruben Volt, he's got the high ground. There's Norbert Michaelis to the inside, a little bit further back. Norby and Ted Bjork side by side. Norby uses the opportunity to find the open door and walk straight through it. Ted Bjork doesn't give gifts away very often, but that was very easy for the Hungarian driver. He'll be delighted with that one. Up in a sixth goes Michaelis, and Bjork now has teammate Jan Elysée for company, and that's going to be a very big task indeed for the Swedish driver to hold off the Frenchman, as Michaelis has a little think on Felipe Fernandez. So excited I lost my voice almost there, as Felipe Fernandez goes defensive from Norbert Michaelis. It's been a good drive actually from Felipe. He's been improving year on year in TCR Europe, snagged a couple of pole position outright at Spa-Francorchamps, and then the reverse grid at Hockenheim last time around as well. Hasn't converted that yet into a race victory or a significant, consistent podium threat. But Felipe Fernandez is most definitely getting faster and faster every time he's on the racetrack, and he's put in a very good account of himself so far on the world stage. As with 21 minutes and 38 seconds left in this race, Gianfilippi still holds on to that second position, but the gap between himself and race leader Nestor Girolami continues to extend. Last time around, 1.4 seconds was the benefit for the Argentinian driver, and that's only going to get bigger as Esteban Gurrieri becomes more and more enthused about his prospects of finding a way past. Speaking of finding a way past, Norbert Michaelis is on the charge again. Felipe Fernandez is the victim on this occasion. Michaelis to the inside. Will they come together on the apex? Fernandez is going to have to go the long way around, and so he does. And that's big contact. Bjork and Michaelis, big contact. The rear quarter of Norby's machine has been spun around. Norby gathers the car back together again. Will he lose it on the grass? There's so little grip out there on the grass. Thankfully, it's been very dry here in Spain, so they're not going to get bogged down. But Norbert Michaelis, I want to stay out of trouble. Norbert Michaelis finds the exact opposite in the form of Ted Bjork and is spirited away from the racetrack and onto the grass. Several places lost now for Norby. He's down in 14th position. Ted Bjork's lost time but not track position, so he holds on in 6th place with teammate Jan Elysée climbing over the rear of him. Big drama for one of our championship favourites coming in to 2025. The nightmare continues for Norbert Michaelis. Not good news for the Hungarian driver. And while we think about that one, we take a look at Gianfilippi, still in second position, almost 10 minutes now. This defensive drive from Gianfilippi needs to be given a very, very big thumbs up from us all. Great driving from the Frenchman. Esteban Gurrieri can't find a way past. Ruben Volt keeping the Argentine very busy indeed. Gurrieri will be looking through the windshield and the rear view mirrors. He knows Ruben Volt, of course, from TCR Europe. He knows the Estonian driver isn't afraid to get the elbows out. Reputation and championship position mean very little to that young man. Ruben Volt on a charge, just like Jan Elysée's on a charge. He has the inside line now to teammate Ted Bjork. I don't think Ted is going to fight that one particularly hard, as Ruben Volt and Esteban Gurrieri have no such luxury. Gurrieri using every trick in his rather illustrious book of tricks to try and hold back the Estonian driver, and as predicted, Ted Bjork does make his way past. Jan Elysée does make his way past Ted Bjork. Bjork now has a very impressive, actually, very fastly moving quick forwards. Mikel Azcona for company. Azcona's been a bit quiet, hasn't he? Haven't seen much of the young Spaniard over the course of this race, but he's moved himself up into 8th position. A very impressive drive from Mikel. Started all the way down there in 16th or 15th with the lack of Eric Genet taking the start of this race. Good stuff then from Mikel Azcona on home soil, and I dare say his story is not yet complete, because Ted Bjork looked to be a bit of a roadblock just behind Nacho Montenegro, keeping a watching brief as well. Not seen much of Nacho this weekend. He said hello to the tyre stacks at the exit of T1 in race number 1. This is the first time we've really seen any kind of stint running from Nacho Montenegro, and the true pace well and truly hidden behind the fact that he's pretty much climbing over the top of every single car in the field to make his way up and through the running order. 18 minutes, 14 seconds, plus 1 lap still to go. It is, of course, Nestor Girolami, your race leader, 1.7 seconds to the good from John Filippi in second position. Filippi himself seeming now to have found a little bit of pace in that machine and is starting to, I wouldn't say look comfortable, but definitely give himself a bit of breathing room from Esteban Gurrieri in third. Breathing room that Ted Bjork would so dearly enjoy to have, but has no such opportunity. This is riding on board now with Mikel Azcona in car number 196. The car just ahead of us is that man Ted Bjork in 7th position. Here you can see the amount of commitment you need into T1 is enviable, and that barrier is oh so very scary. Mikel Azcona almost collects the inside of it, and while he's gathering it together, Nacho Montenegro needs no second invitation. The Argentinian, the young Argentinian driver, the former TCR South America champion, FIA Motorsport Games winner, takes the position away from Azcona. Esteban Gurrieri is trying very hard to take the position away from Ruben Volt. He's lost that one, so we've not seen this one on screen, but Ruben Volt has moved up into third position. So Esteban Gurrieri's big haul of points doesn't look quite as big now, does it, as what it looked a few moments ago. Gurrieri will be keen to stay in contention with Ruben Volt, but let's remember Ruben not carrying weight, doesn't have a championship to worry about. This is not his series. He races in TCR Europe normally, so the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour in Valencia, all about scoring the big results, putting your name on the world stage. And Ruben Volt, free of the pressure, free to be able to drive as well as we know the young Estonian could drive. He's got all of this to put together now, and he's got about a second and a half or so to close upon John Filippi ahead. I definitely think that is game on, mission on for Ruben Volt. I think if you're John Filippi, you're not going to be particularly excited about seeing that brand of hilariously, enjoyably aggressive driver that Ruben Volt is coming into your rear view mirrors. Scary, scary times ahead for John Filippi. Doesn't have to worry about it just yet though. He does have a second buffer over the Estonian driver, but how long that buffer will last for remains to be seen, as Jan Aleshe tries very hard to take away 5th position from Felipe Fernandez. Another question, how long can Fernandez hold on to Jan Aleshe? Not very long, methinks, as Jan has the inside line. We see this live on board, beautiful shots on board Jan Aleshe's Lincoln Co. Cyan racing car as he takes away the 5th position from Felipe Fernandez. Fernandez drops another spot, comes under pressure from Ted Bjork, and Aleshe is now free, unleashed, opened up and ready and raring to go to close down on the back of Esteban Gurrieri. Two drivers that will categorically be in the championship shout come Macau at the end of the season. This could be vital for their respective prospects coming into the rest of the season. But Aleshe, catching's one thing, passing is quite a different proposition indeed. And for now at least, Jan needs to find a few more tenths of a second before he can be in that particular conversation. Unlike Ted Bjork, who needs to lose a couple of tenths of a second before collecting the back of Felipe Fernandez. Good driving from the Swedish driver, not to clatter into the rear of the GOAT racing machine. But Ted Bjork, we've already seen this weekend, fired up somewhat by a slightly disappointing qualification result. Ted Bjork, absolutely, in terms of racecraft, in terms of race pace, the man of the moment of Valencia. There is the 111. See him going through our screen now. This is the good thing, the pack is so tightly compressed, even though Bjork's in 7th position at this moment in time. As soon as he's cleared Felipe Fernandez, he's going to be right in the heart of the conversation of the cars ahead. There's Julien Brichet, looking a little bit disappointed, the Frenchman. Unfortunately, that's goodbye to Julien, the JSB competition machine. Early retirement, not quite sure the reasonings behind that one. Mechanical, no doubt. Brichet makes our first retiree. Did not start, of course, for Eric Jeunet. So 16 cars still on the racetrack, topped by Bebo Girolami, tailed by Aurelien Comte. And this is opportunity time for the Lincoln Co machine. Ted Bjork needing multiple corners to find a way past Felipe Fernandez. The outside line now is not the optimal place to be. And there comes Nacho Montenegro. And Nacho Montenegro, The Argentinian driver sees the opportunity, takes the opportunity to the outside of Felipe Fernandez now. He doesn't know which way the week it is. Does Felipe Fernandez being attacked seemingly on all quarters? Montenegro has to get off the racetrack though. Be careful on the rejoin. We've seen people fall foul of that one already. And Montenegro slots back in behind Ted Bjork. Mikel Azcona as well, keeping a watching brief in the heart of all this one. We're riding on board now with Nacho. This is Montenegro side by side with Bjork once again. Ted Bjork, every panel on that car is going to have seen some kind of sign of contact. A little bit of contact again between the two of them. Bjork just about holds on for now. Mikel Azcona, 9th position. Santiago Urrutia for company as well. And this is the opportunity. That's the move to the inside for the 155. Did he get it done? Not quite. Ted Bjork survives ahead of Nacho Montenegro. Jan Elishay and Esteban Gurrieri go side by side. Jan Elishay gets that one done. We picked it up late. Elishay, though, on the defensive. Gurrieri in absolutely no mood to give away this position to the French driver. They go side by side for the run down into T1. The remainder of the pack charge their way down as well, but Esteban Gurrieri loses that position. Elishay up in a 4th. Gurrieri down in 5th place. And then seemingly the entirety of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour field follow on in unison as one. Montenegro to the inside. Nacho Montenegro on Ted Bjork. That's the last of the late breakers move. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Nacho Montenegro takes that position away. Beautiful drive by the young Argentinian. And he's given Ted Bjork more than a little bit to think about as well, as one of the Hyundais is climbing over the back of the Swedish driver a little bit further up the field. The gaps are starting to expand ever so slightly. No threat, though, of that happening further down. Mikel Azcona gets it done around the outside. Goes Santi Urrutia, and Ted Bjork, having been battered and beaten over the last few corners, loses not 1 but 2 positions. Marcin Hua, his teammate as well, has a little look to the inside. Ted thinks better of it though on this occasion, covers the line, and Ted Bjork, where has that pace gone for the big Swedish driver? Down in 8th position now. 9th mate that actually. Santi Urrutia has made his way up. This has been a good recovery from the Uruguayan driver Santiago Urrutia. Came into this race number 2 as our new championship leader by a scant couple of points from Esteban Gurrieri. Starting down in 10th place. You're going to need 9th position, sorry. It's going to needed to have been a big recovery drive for Santiago, and that recovery drive is working reasonably well so far as 1, 2 and 3 Cyan Racing Lincoln Co's a line astern further down the pack. One man who's still got lots of racing left in him with 10 minutes and 53 seconds is John Filippi. Can you believe? Take a bow, John Filippi, if you will, sir. Holding on to 2nd position, 3 seconds the gap between himself and Nestor Girolami now. So Girolami using the pace of that Hyundai Elantra and TCR to bridge that gap. But Ruben Volt and John Filippi are still glued together in 2nd and 3rd position. It's been a really strong, really powerful defensive drive from John Filippi at this moment in time, and Ruben Volt closed that gap down. 1.7 seconds it was for a short while. It only took him a lap or so, did Ruben Volt, to close the gap down. But pace is fabulous. It's how you deploy it that counts in the heat of battle, and John Filippi is not a man very prone to making mistakes. So if Ruben Volt wants to find a way past it into 2nd position, he's going to have to think a little bit outside of the box in order to get this deal done. Both of these drivers would dearly love to be in that 2nd position. Both would dearly love the podium. John Filippi, of course, in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour full-time in 2025 for SP competition. Ruben Volt, guesting this weekend, has absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. Does car number 27, rocking the same number as Jean Alesi, of course, back in the 1990s. Always gets my respect, does that one. Car number 27, Gilles Villeneuve as well, of course. To the outside goes Ruben Volt now, tries to get the swing, and this is the best overtaking opportunity on the track through the final corner. Concentrate on the run, then firmly plant yourself in the slipstream of Filippi. What Volt wants to do now, he wants John to do a defensive manoeuvre, compromise his pace, and then he can get the run through turns 1 into turn number 2. Filippi, though, a wily fox is John Filippi. He's not the oldest driver on the grid, not by a long, long way, but he's got plenty of experience in tin-top touring cars across multiple different generations of car as John Filippi. As Felipe Fernandez makes a small mistake, and in something of an orchestrated move, I am sure, allows his full-time teammate Nacho Montenegro to sidle his way through up into 6th position. Good driving there from Felipe Fernandez. In fact, actually, sometimes when you pull the plug, the water flows faster than you think, as Felipe Fernandez loses another position almost immediately to Esteban Gurrieri. Gurrieri's recovery drive is back on again. One thing that is on though, folks, take a look at this one. The battle for second position is heating up. If John Felipe was dinner in the oven, I'd say he'll be a little bit cooked by now, because Ruben Volt is climbing over the back of car number 127. The air of inevitability is high, and Ruben Volt, the first opportunity, takes the move, takes the position away from John Philippe. Jan Aleshe, Hunter killer mode enabled, looks to the inside as well. The vulnerable Frenchman of John Philippe, having lost one position, loses another one straight away. Aleshe immediately passed and through the SP competition machine. Up in a third place goes Jan. John Philippe, contact between the two of them. Philippe catches the rear of Aleshe. He's been caught out a little bit there, has John. Aleshe does a fabulous job to recover the car and doesn't lose it in a massive, massive shunt. But John Philippe, that was dangerous between the two of them. Now the outside line goes Felipe. Aleshe to the inside. He's not going to give this one up, is Jan. Holds it on the brakes, claims the apex, takes the corner away. Aleshe holding on. Felipe, though, senses opportunity, senses a chance. While Jan Aleshe is regathering his composure, this is the best opportunity for car number 127 to take away that podium once again. But I think the challenge has been stunted. What happened here then? Let's take a look. Aleshe, a little bit earlier on the brakes, even though the tyres were locked, then maybe Felipe expected the overlap, perhaps not being quite to plan. And that's on board from Jan. Look at that car control. Look at that from Jan Aleshe. Would not have been expecting the contact at that stage of the racetrack, and gathered it together like it's almost a Sunday drive. That's why Jan Aleshe is a double world champion. That's why he's one of the best touring car drivers on the planet. Fabulous driving then in car number 168. And Jan Aleshe's reward is a provisional bottom step of the podium. But no man is going to challenge Nestor Girolami now in the final closing moments. The final 6 minutes and 22 seconds of round 5 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Nestor Girolami sitting pretty at the head of the pack. The big question for us all, I am sure, burning on our lips, does Jan Aleshe have the pace to close upon Ruben Volt? And if he does he have the tenacity to find a way past? A little bit further down the running order, by the way, Marcin Hua has just stepped into the top 10. Felipe Fernandez continues his backwards trajectory, now in 11th place as the Spanish driver. Mar being the latest driver to find his way past the recovering Norbert Michaelis is next in line as well. As we ride on board with Jan Aleshe, probably still counting his lucky stars that he's not said hello to the scenery with that bit of contact. And if anything, that may have motivated this young man into digging deep and finding some more pace, because I don't know about you folks, but certainly from my eye, that Ruben Volt car looks tantalisingly close to be thinking about starting to launch an attacking procedure. So Aleshe absolutely not giving up on that second position for now. Very much on a charge. I'll keep an eye on the times. Last time was a 1 minute 43.152. Let's have a look next time he crosses the line, just how much pace can be unlocked from that Lincoln Co. Cyan racing machine. Aleshe carrying 20 kilos of compensation weight on board. So he's not the heaviest car in the field, and we know that the Lincoln Co. Cyan machine can definitely carry the weight. Right. 5-second time penalty has been given to Felipe Fernandez for track limit infringements. The first time we've seen that one this weekend. Felipe Fernandez, his day's not going very well at all. Down in 13th place now. Lost a couple of positions since we last saw Marcin Hua being one, Norbert Michaelis being the other. So Fernandez, unfortunately, looking at the gaps and how tight this field is, a 5-second penalty is going to plummet that car down the running order at the checkered flag. No penalty problems, though, whatsoever for Ruben Volt and Jan Aleshe. But look at the Frenchman again. You can see just with the eye that is a lot closer to Ruben Volt on this occasion. Let's have a look as they cross the line. Aleshe last time a 42.9. Ruben Volt 43 flat. So only a tenth of a second between the two of them. But closing. Applying the pressure is Jan Aleshe, and Ruben Volt will have to be on his A game if he wants to hold on to that second position. Mikkel Afkona just needs to push. That's all he needs to do in 7th place. 0.6 of a second between himself and Nacho Montenegro. So Azcona's got a lot of work to do if he's got any designs on that 6th position. On home soil, from the checkered flag. And let's remember, of course, race 3 grid is made up of the cumulative points scored by the drivers in qualifying, race number 1 and race number 2. So not only do you want to finish as high up as possible for championship points, it's going to positively impact your starting position for race 3 this afternoon as well. So every point on the table for any one of these drivers is more than worth grabbing with 2 very greedy hands. Indeed, Jan Elishay would like the points, would like the position number 2 trophy even more though, I dare say. And it's certainly not for want of trying in car number 168. The body language of that Cyan Racing Lincoln Co machine suggests that Jan Elishay is categorically wringing its neck for pace. And it seems to be working because Ruben Volt, the distance now, it isn't measured in seconds, it isn't even measured in tenths. It's measured in lengths of car, or, to you and I, it's measured in a close your eyes and hope for the best overtaking manoeuvre. That's how close these two are. Elishay doesn't do things like that though, of course. But I reckon, certainly, by the conclusion of the following lap, this is going to be game on in a fight for 2nd position. The bottom step of the podium as well in 3rd. Ruben Volt and Jan Elishay. Get ready for that one though. 2 minutes 20 seconds still, plus 1 lap to go. And there is plenty of racing all the way through the pack. Ted Bjork, Marcin Hua are very close together. A little bit further down, Ted's going to be under pressure before too long as Mikel Azcona's charge continues. And just look how serene Mikel is behind the wheel of that 196. Driver and car very much in unison as one. But the time is not working in the favour of Mikel Azcona. 1 minute 52 seconds plus a singular lap to go. So about 3 laps of racing action. Azcona's going to do anything about Montenegro. It needs to be very, very soon indeed. As Ted Bjork is now coming under pressure from Marcin Hua. We spoke about tyres with Alex Legui on the grid at the start of the show. Perhaps some of these drivers, certainly some of these drivers that have been embroiled in battle over the course of this race, might be wondering where the grip has gone and could be vulnerable to those behind. Ruben Volt, I feel, is a man that's maybe used his Kumho slicks up a little bit more than he would like, based purely on the fact that Jan Elishay is climbing over the back of that Honda Civic very much with intent to take the position away. Very nervous times down at the front of the field. Bebu Girolami's lost a bucket load of time as well. Last time around, Girolami still comfortable, but definitely not out of reach of these two just yet, should something dramatic happen. So it's very much game on then at the head of the pack in the final minute of racing action here in race number 2, round number 5 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. One more race still to come a little bit later on, 15:10 local time, 13:10 UTC here on TCR TV on YouTube. We'll worry about that though, that's a future problem, because a right here, right now problem is who is going to take the race victory. Bebu Girolami leads, Ruben Volt second, Jan Elishay on the attack in 3rd position. John Felipe holding on to that 4th from Esteban Gurrieri and Nacho Montenegro. Mikel Azcona as well down in 7th as one to keep an eye out. Azcona still unable to find a way past the Argentinian driver Nacho Montenegro. With limited time to go, opportunities will be diminishing rapidly for these drivers. If you're the one leading the pack, you'll be begging for that checkered flag to come. If you're the likes of Jan Elishay, oh, could you do with another few minutes to try and launch an assault on the cars ahead. Julien Brichet is in retirement on this one, still in pit lane, out of the car. Eric Genet, unfortunately, couldn't make the start with some kind of mechanical issue on his Cupra, preventing him from taking to the grid. But there are still 16 cars in this race. Bebu Girolami leads, Aurelien Comps is our final runner down there in 16th position. Shout as well to Raphael Fournier on debut in the Kumho TCR World Tour, holding a good job up there in 15th place, gathering much needed experience behind the wheel of a TCR car for the young teenager. I'm sure they'll take away plenty of learning from what has been a very frantic weekend of racing indeed. Penultimate time then through the final corner. The charge from Jan Elishay seems to have dimmed somewhat on Ruben Volt. Bebu Girolami is falling into the clutches of these two now. Girolami losing a frightening amount of pace compared to those around. Have tyres cried enough on the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa machine. It is the final lap, the last opportunity, so Girolami may be safe or maybe under pressure. We'll find out. There are several drivers under pressure though, Nacho Montenegro being one of them. Montenegro in 6th position, Mikel Azcona climbing over the back. Just in the background, Santiago Urrutia. Ted Bjork is still ahead of Marcin Hua in 9th and 10th positions. Let's see how that one stays to the flag. But look at Mikel Azcona. He's got the pace, he's got the desire. He's just running out of real estate and more importantly, running out of time to try and deliver the overtake on Nacho Montenegro. Inch perfect. The GOAT Racing Honda driver ahead. Make no mistakes, leave no opportunities, and no passes. They shall be a-coming. As we'll look at our 3 race leaders now. Through your shot there goes Jan Aleshe. What could have been for Jan Aleshe? The opportunity was higher, but a podium will be gratefully received by the French driver, I'm sure. Knowing Jan, he always wants more, and he'll just be a little bit frustrated that he didn't have enough to get into contention with Ruben Volt for that 2nd position. Great debut, by the way, in the World Tour for Ruben Volt, representing TCR Europe very well indeed. 2nd position overall for ALM Motorsports so far, as Gianfilippi, defensive driver of the season candidate, number 1 already. And we're only at our 2nd meeting. Gianfilippi holds on to that 4th position. Through the final corner we go then. It is Nestor Girolami for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team that takes a commanding race victory in Valencia, just ahead of Ruben Volt and Jan Aleshe, rounding out the podium places in what has been an absolutely fantastic race here at the Circuit Ricardo Turbo. Celebrations all round then for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team. They'll be very pleased that their man brought it home to the line. Mikel Azcona for that team finishes in 2nd position. And a recovering, despondent, distraught, distressed Norbert Michaelis finishes in a provisional 11th place. And for Norby, at least he managed to keep the car on the racetrack following that contact. And there'll be scant consolation, I'm sure, as teams celebrate. Handshakes all around. Some nice Italian coffee there as well in the back of the garage later on. For the BRC squad, job well done from the disaster, from the nightmare of Mexico City to the winner's circle here in Valencia. Bebo Girolami under the radar weekend so far from the Argentinian driver. Finished race number 1 down in 5th position. Race number 2 comes a victory. Fabulous, fabulous stuff. 6th position, sorry, for Girolami in race 1. 5th was the grid. And then a race win. Fabulous stuff then from Nestor. He'll be absolutely delighted with that one, I am sure. And with that one, using a little bit of fast maths, Gurrieri retakes the lead at the championship. And provisionally, at least, Jan Aleshe will be the man that starts race number 3 on pole position. I caveat that one heavily, of course, dear viewer, with provisional. There are lots of investigative actions to be had. There's lots of recalculations to make sure the maths are correct. But it does look like Esteban Gurrieri is our new championship leader. And from pole position for race number 3 for Jan Aleshe, it's going to be a very good day for the Lincoln Co Cyan Racing team, I am sure. They'll be delighted with their day's work. Esteban Gurrieri, though, there is confirmation. 3 points is the advantage from Jan Aleshe. Santiago Urrutia, a further point adrift in 3rd. Ted Bjork, 14 away from the ultimate pace. And then there's a little gap from Marcin Hua, 39 adrift. And Bebo Girolami, even with that race victory, is a hearty 63 points away from the head of the championship. So, Esteban Gurrieri, job done. He wanted to make sure that he got the points, and the points he did get. Fabulous stuff then. Aleshe comes down pit lane. This is the hardest part for a race driver. You've done your work, you've done the hard stuff, and now you realise you're in Spain, and it is absolutely boiling red hot. And all of a sudden that heat sink in the car becomes somewhat unpalatable indeed. If you're a podium sitter, you can cope with that one. You don't mind. You're going to be sprayed in champagne in not too distant future, and you get yourself a nice trophy. If you're not on the podium, you'll be desperate to get out that car, debrief with your engineers, get in the shower, and then work out what you're going to do different for race number 3 to improve your lot in life. There you go then. Aleshe doing a bit of parking. The winners, oh, goodness me, that was close, wasn't it? I'm sure it wasn't as close in real life, but on camera, oh well, very tight indeed. No problems for your race winner, though. Bebu Girolami. This one's going to mean a lot to Bebu, I am absolutely certain. Under the radar in Mexico City, and frankly, a little bit under the radar here in Valencia. Well, no more Bebu. No under the radar. He's got that radar, he's picked it up, and he's broken it into 1,000 pieces, methinks. What a win from the affable Argentinian driver. Lovely man is Bebu Girolami. So is his brother Franco as well. Really, really great guys. And he's going to love every moment of that success, and so he should. What a great performance from Girolami. He was attacking when he needed to be. The decisive pass for the race lead as well. And then from that moment onwards, it's never ever going to be a different way for Bebu Girolami. Fantastic performance. Bit of a smile for the cameras. I'm sure Alex is down there. In fact, look, there she is. Alex will be down there to have a word with our race winner when he's finished celebrating with his team. And these are great moments as a driver. You want to celebrate it with the nearest and dearest. You never quite know when the next one's going to come. So it's always worth soaking up every moment of the emotion. And of course, Bebu, quietly spoken young man, but a very, very passionate Argentinian. Very proud of his own nation, very proud of his racing career as well. And I'm sure representing Argentina on the world stage with another race victory will mean a lot indeed. I think Bebu Girolami is going to have he's going to do a lot of handshaking and a lot of hugging and a lot of kissing between now and race number 3. He's going to be a tired man after that one. But you know what? These are the spoils of victory sometimes. And my goodness me, every single one of these drivers would swap a busy schedule for a race winner's trophy for sure. As Beppe lines up there to give him his hat. As our Kumho race winner. Our latest winner, the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour as well. There's Ruben Volt. Arm round for Martin Laura of ALM Motorsports. Their boy's done a good job, hasn't he? It's been a fabulous performance for Ruben. Really strong result for the Estonian driver in P2. On the world stage as well, let's remember, making his debut in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. And quite frankly, that result's been a damn sight better than his main season results. So that'll be a nice fill-in for Ruben. There is Jan. Just having a quick chat. Look at that, ever the professionals. Cover your mouth so you don't know what you're talking about. I like that one. And Jan, I think, he's going to be satisfied with his day's work, especially considering potentially he'll be taking the pole for race number 3 as well. So the day could get even better again. We could have a new World Tour leader. Let's have a look at our provisional results. Bebu Girolami from Ruben Volt and Jan Elishay. That's your provisional podium. John Filippi does a great job to hold on to 4 from Esteban Guerrieri and Nacho Montenegro in 6th. Mikel Azcona 7th, Santiago Ruti 8th, Ted Bjork 9th, and Ma Qinghua round out our top 10. Right then, feels like a great time to go and have a word with my friend Alex Legui and our race winner, Bebu Girolami.
Well, Bebu Nestor Girolami takes the win of race 2 here in Valencia, and what a win that was. Your first win since Vallelunga last year, that was like a masterclass in stealth. What was the key moment when you knew that this was your chance?
I think second lap, we had all the potential with our car, with the fresh tires. And I think this was the key moment, because otherwise, with used tires, we saw the race, it's almost impossible to overtake. So, very happy. I want to congratulate all VRC, all the team, all the mechanics. They did a fantastic job. We never give up. Yesterday was terrible for us, not a good pace, and today we turned it around, which was fantastic.
That was such a good drive, Bebu, and I feel like this is really going to put Hyundai back on the map for 2025, right?
Yeah, it was really needed, this result, to be honest. After the start we have in Mexico, we really pushed hard to have a great result here. There's still one race to go, but to secure a victory is very good. I'm so happy. I'm so happy from the engineer side, because they were working till last night, probably midnight, all the time, thinking what we can do to improve the car, and today the car make a big step. So I'm very happy and proud of all VRC.
You look emotional.
Yeah, also for my family, my little baby Benicio, my parents in Argentina, they are far away, but I want to say gracias. Gracias por todo.
Well done. Well deserved. Enjoy your podium.
An emotional Bebu Girolami then, just showing how much this victory means to the Argentinian driver. And it also means it's helped his championship charge. Esteban Gurrieri leads the standings from Jan Aleshe, with Santiago Urrutia in third. 3 points, 4 points behind, respectively. Ted Bjork does another great day of work to be 14 and adrift in fourth. Marcin Hua, fifth in the standings. And then that man, Bebu Girolami, 63 adrift in the title standings, but still the lead driver, believe it or not, from the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team. It's a long season in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. We're off to Monza just next week, then Villarreal, the Bend in Australia, in Podium in Korea, Zhuzhou International in China, and Macau in November. Lots of racing still to go, lots of racing just been had. Let's take a look at some highlights of the race that we've just enjoyed.
Ready. Ladies and gentlemen, a very, very hot welcome here in Valencia. Thank you for joining us once again for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. It's the podium for race 2.
Preparados todos para ese podium, así que estamos atentos a la llegada de los 3 primeros clasificados.
Please welcome to the podium for race 2 in third position for Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing. He's back again. It's Jan Aleshe.
En la tercera plaza, el francés Jan Aleshe.
From ALM Motorsport, doing it for Estonia, it's Ruben Bolt in P2.
En la segunda plaza, el estonio Ruben Bolt.
And your winner, it was a master class in stealth from BRC Hyundai Squadra Corsa. It's Bebu Nestor Girolami.
El piloto de Hyundai desde Argentina, Nestor Girolami.
Representing BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa, it's Eric Bau.
El equipo vencedor del BRC Hyundai en Escuadra Corsa, representado por el señor Eric Bau.
And now for the national anthem, the Argentine anthem for Bebu.
Escuchamos el norte del vencedor, el himno de Argentina.
Trophies. The sporting director of Circuito, Ricardo Tormo, Gabriel Baruga, will present the third position trophy to Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing's Jan Aleshe.
Don Gabriel Baruga, director deportivo del circuito Ricardo Tormo, entregará el trofeo a Jan Aleshe como tercer clasificado.
Gabriel will also present the second position trophy to ALM Motorsports' Ruben Bolt.
Don Gabriel Berruga entrega el trofeo al segundo clasificado, Rubén Bolt.
And the winning trophy to BRC Hyundai's Bebu Girolami.
Y el director deportivo del circuito entrega a Néstor Girolami el trofeo como vencedor de esta carrera.
And to the representative is Eric Baru.
Don Eric Barú de Hyundai en Escuadra Corse recibe de manos de Don Gabriel Berruga el trofeo como equipo vencedor.
Congratulations, boys. Please come together for your family photograph.
El momento de la fotografía para el recuerdo en lo alto del podio con Jan, Rubén, Néstor, Eric Baú y las autoridades. ¡Se aplauso para ellos!
Congratulations, boys. Let's party.
Ahí está la victoria de Néstor Girolami y los esperamos en la próxima de las pruebas.
There we go then. That is our podium presentation for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour round number 5. And what a resounding victory. And a championship lead now for Esteban Gurrieri from Yann Alessi and Santiago Urrutia. Once again, there are provisional standings. It's always provisional until the stewards have done what they need to do. But as you can see, very close. 14 points covering our top 4 drivers here in Valencia. It's been a great race, and we go racing once again a little bit later on at 15:10 local time, 13:10 UTC on the TCR TV YouTube channel. From myself, Paul Jeffrey, from Alex Legui, and from the whole team watching, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again later on this afternoon.